The average solo GP is dead. Being handcuffed to a practice that only makes money while you're drilling crushes your freedom. Being trapped at the office is no way to experience life, and doing more fillings and crowns ain't the answer to freedom. Stop it. Freedom comes when your practice makes money without you. Freedom is choosing how many days and how you dental. Ready to forge your freedom? Then keep listening to become a super GP and super CEO. This is the Titanium Practice Podcast with your host, Dr. Stephen Freeman. Let's go.
Hello, all you beautiful people out there, and welcome to what's sure to be the best episode of the Titanium Practice Podcast yet. I'm your host and personal freedom coach, Dr. Stephen Freeman. How y'all doing today? So this is the second part to the first episode talking about the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. I strongly suggest you listen to the first part first. It will make this one make more sense and give you a little bit more information about how we can take you from having a high-paying job over to something that's more of an actual business so that we can get you out there doing the things that you love. So head on over there and watch that or listen to that first episode if you haven't done so already. Also, if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button. Leave us some reviews so that we can know what you guys are thinking about the episodes. And also, we have our Insiders newsletter that goes out at the beginning of every month at titaniumpractice.com. It is free. If you just head over there, sign up for it. We'll make sure that we get you all the information that we need to make sure that we are getting you one step closer to getting you out of the chair, which is the whole goal of the Titanium Practice. All right? Hope you all enjoy this episode, and off we go. Prioritize tasks. All right? So for me, and I know I just kind of said it, so I'm almost going to sound like I'm contradicting myself, but like me, I do think about what are the big things that are really going to make changes for you. So I think that fluoride one's a really good one when we are now trying to fine tune things. So when you've got the time to kind of like be CEO and say, all right, let's find another bump. Where can I get another couple $1,000s a month from? Okay. You adding implants to your office, if you can add 10 implants to your office a month, that creates a giant change. Or 10 endos to your office a month, or 10 ortho starts to your office a month. Those make titanic differences to your bottom line in your life. So you need to prioritize those tasks. And I'd say that again is the point of the Titanium Practice Podcast, is to get you guys to the point where we're freeing you up so that we can then go on the backside and become super CEOs. So we're clinicians. So let's clinician. All right. And then we will learn and dabble and figure out how to make things better once we start training to become a CEO, after we've got ourselves, for the most part, removed from the chair as much as we want to, or maybe completely, and move on from there. You got to be organized. All right. Entropy rules my desk. I mean, it is something that I work on, but slowly but surely, I got things much more organized. I remember I used to look at my desk and it really was just an absolute, how much crap can you throw on top of it? And it is a struggle and a fight to keep it clean and organized, but make sure you have your goals written down. Make sure you've got a calendar that you write things down on. And I'm old school. I still like paper and pen. So I write this stuff down on paper and pen. I've got a calendar that my office manager knows about, my wife knows about. That's where stuff goes. That is where things get put so that I can stay organized and I can know where I'm hoping to be. Like sometimes you start your implant journey, you don't even remember, like, when did you start? Did I start that 2 months ago? Did I start that 3 months ago? Write it down. Started implants. So and you have an idea, because again, you're going to want the money right away, but it takes time. So you can kind of chart out the year of where you're hoping to be with implementing these things. When are you going to start doing that? Are you going to implement a bunch of different procedures in the office to really just again, blow this thing up? That's fine, but you should stagger them when they start. Chart out your year, and your year can start now. It doesn't need to be January 1. You don't be like, okay, I got to wait till January 1 to start implementing these things. So I've got my calendar for the year. Just plot the things out. And in my calendar, it's not like I don't buy it from the store. I think it's calendar.com. They print one out. And so I always have a 12-month calendar available to me. So, like right now I'm recording this in April, and I've got my April 2024 calendar. And then when April this month is over, I will get an April 2025 and print it off, and it goes on the back end part of the calendar, and it just keeps shuffling on through. So I still like paper and pen. I know there are wonderful things in the Googles and the Apples and all that you can put it in, and you want to roll with that, awesome, do it. I just still prefer paper and pen to stay organized, okay? So another thing is seeking feedback. It's tough because I think a lot of us, let me back up. I have, my surgical assistant has an enormous amount of experience in surgery. She's worked at a couple different periodontal offices, oral surgery offices, and she's seen it. She's seen it all. And you know these assistants. This is like, they don't have the DDS or DMD at the end of their name, but they can do this stuff. And it's crazy because they just know so much. And, if you're struggling on something, ask for their advice. Ask, hey, have you seen such and such? That's okay. I'm also here. Ask me for the advice. I'll tell you. I'll help you. info@titaniumpractice.com. That's my email. That's how you can get a hold of me. Okay? But it's just something that another set of eyes. You know this. Like, think about like being on one side of the chair and you look at something, and if you move around and you go and look at the other side, it looks totally different. It's all about your perspective, and your assistant's looking at this stuff all the time, and they might have seen some things, but they're afraid to bring those things up because you're the doctor. You're the doctor and they're the assistant. So who are they to give feedback on that? Get feedback from your office manager about ideas that you're trying to implement. Now, I'll tell you, sometimes this can be a little bit dangerous because of the fact that most people don't like change. But if you've got a good, solid team behind you, they will be all about this change and they'll be excited about it. Because do you know how boring, think about it for you, how boring it is to do a Class 2 composite. Think about how boring it gets to do a crown. You do the same things over and over again. It's exciting. It's fresh to bring new procedures into the office to change things up and get them out of the boredom. Because let's face it, implants are way cooler than a Class 2 composite. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And if you don't think that, this is not the podcast for you, okay? So just keep that in mind, that bringing these things should excite them. And if you find someone who's very resistant to it, they might not be the right person on the bus for you. Because if these things excite you and you love the idea of not always having to produce, $100 Class 2 composite, well, let's figure out how we can make that change, and it might include freeing up somebody's future to go work somewhere else. Get the right people on the bus for that. All right? My last podcast, I talked about that disaster struck. Learn from your failures. It's A-OK. You have failed at crowns before. You have failed at fillings before. It is okay if you fail at your implant or fail at your endo or fail at your ortho. And by the way, there's really almost no such thing as failing at ortho. That's one of the glorious things about it. It takes so friggin' long to do bracketed ortho. They know it's going to take a long time. And instantly, and again, once you start doing ortho, you'll see they'll come back 6 months later and their smile already looks so much better. And the rest of the time is just about fine-tuning occlusion and fine-tuning cosmetics. But I guarantee you, that's why 6-month smiles exists. They didn't just pick the number out of the air. I used to do 6-month smiles all the time, and a number of times we'd take brackets off at 4 months. Patients like, that's it, done, it's fine, looks great. You're not going to screw up ortho. It's awesome, okay? But learn from your mistakes. Oh, I put the bracket on this way, so the tooth spun this way. I better put the opposite, put the bracket in the exact opposite spot. Instead of being on the mesial, it needed to be on the distal in order to get the spin that I wanted. You learn from that. It's okay. It's okay. Learn from your mistakes. Now, don't do it again. Then it truly is a mistake. But learn from it so you get better at serving your patients. All right? Another one that's tough for me is celebrate the achievements. Okay? It's tough because you get, if you're really looking to grow, then you're one of these people who's always kind of like looking at the horizon and seeing what is coming. And a lot of the time you can almost see it, it's going to happen. So in your head, you're like, well, I've already done the thing. So like the first time you cross $1 million, you know that you're looking at it and just like, well, shoot, if I, do this and the patients stay on the schedule, I know I'm going to cross $1 million, and they do the same thing. It's like, oh, I know I'm going to cross 2 million or 3 million, 5 million, 6 million. You're already going to do it. But make them smaller achievements. Make them things you can celebrate with your team. Like, hey, I'm going to celebrate after the first 10 implants that I place in the office. Because once you do 10, you've already got a good handle on things. Once you place 20, you have a great handle on things. Once you've placed 30 implants, you have a very, very good handle on where things are going to be. So set them up in, increments like that. Say that's what we're looking for. Because 50% of Americans are missing a tooth. So that means 50% of the patients are going to walk into your office, need an implant. They're going to need an implant. All right. Well, let's make this our focus. Let's tell the team what we're trying to achieve, that we're trying to get on the implant bus. We're trying to look for people who want to be doing this, and let's get going. And we're going to set up a goal to do 10 implants in the first 3 months. It's very manageable. Again, 50% of your patients walking in the door are going to need an implant. So you should be able to do 10 implants in 3 months and get them all set and ready to go. But again, you've also got some that are going to be walking in that need the extraction as well. But celebrate that. What does that look like to you? Does that mean taking them out to dinner? Just bringing pizzas into the office and say, yeah, we did it. Awesome. But I'm a bad celebrator. And so this is something we tried to get better at. I've delegated the whole celebration thing to somebody else because of the fact that I am just a bad celebrator. Because I know when the goal is going to be hit in my head, I'm like, great, super, awesome. On to the next one. So if you're a bad celebrator, give it to somebody else. Shelly in my office, she loves celebrating. She loves it. She loves doing all the little things. And so this is great. You do this. You go celebrate. And I'll be there. I'll cheer them on when it happens. But it's like, I'm not going to set up the thing to do the celebration. So delegate it. It's okay. But along that path is you got to stay positive. And I probably should have just tied this right back in with the failures thing of just the fact of if you're going to place implants, you're going to have failures. You're going to have grafts that fail. You're going to have grafts where the sutures come undone and your graft just spills out into the patient's mouth. And it doesn't happen often, but it's going to happen. But as I said, you've had you've had crowns and fillings that fail. You've had it. I mean, they fall out. Life happens. It's amazing how it happens, but it happens. And so it's okay. You've had it in general dentistry. What difference does it make if you're doing it in specialty dentistry? Because you're scared? I mean, I guess, but do you remember being scared when you first did general dentistry? It was scary when you first started calling the shots. There's no two ways about it. It is scary to start calling the shots. So, it's okay. But stay positive and realize that the thing you're really looking for, the reason you're doing this, and I'm not all about money. The money is actually not the important part. It's money gives you options, and options make you happy, and options give you freedom. And that's what I'm really going for. That's what I'm trying to help you get out there and do, is not be tethered to this practice and be out there doing the fun things. So you can be taking vacations. So you can be going to concerts with, your daughter who wants to go see Taylor Swift, or, whatever the thing is. Game 7 of the World Series, or, just so you can go do those things and have those awesome memories with your family. That's actually what it's all about. It's not about the money. The money is just the vehicle that gets you there. But that's not what this is about. But keep in mind, so this whole book, E-Myth Revisited, so you created yourself most likely just a high-paying job, and you're welcome to create a very, very high-paying job with it by adding the specialty procedures to it. But what I'm trying to do is create a situation where you can increase your revenue to get you down to fewer days of the week, to get you eventually out of the chair so that you can then become a super CEO and then really turn the screws on the practice and really, really make it profitable from that point in time. That's the that's the path. That's the journey. That's what I'm trying to help you do. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed the review of this book. Probably going to review some other books here in the future, just to let you know what's out there. It's tough to find time to read. You should. I find it tough. I find it very difficult to find time to read, but I do it anyways because I know it's good for my mind. I know it's something that I should do. But sometimes we don't have the time to do that. So why not get a couple of book reviews from here of what are the big business books that are out there that have helped things? And it doesn't need to be business. It can also just be personal health as well. I've talked to you before about Peter Attia and doing some things where, longevity and health and keeping us healthy and have a health span that increases, not necessarily just our lifespan, but the health span along, so we can spend more time with our family and create more memories with them. All right. So like I said, if you'd hit the subscribe button for me, leave us a review if you got time as well, and head over to titaniumpractice.com, sign up for our Insiders newsletter so that we can get you even more content and information so that we can help you get out of that chair. All right. That is all I've got for you today. I thank you very much and have an awesome day. Thanks. Bye.
You've been listening to the Titanium Practice Podcast with your host, Dr. Stephen Freeman. Please hit the like and subscribe button and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Titanium Practice. Questions or comments? Send an email to info@titaniumpractice.com. Join us next time to help turn your average practice into a titanium practice.